Welcome students to the lecture on Technical Textiles 2. We will be continuing with the topic Chemical Protective Clothing. We started the lecture with the in this topic with the introduction to the chemical protective clothing and what are the components of chemical protective clothing and what are the methods to confer the chemical protection like particulate protection, liquid and gas protection we have discussed. Then in the second lecture, we discussed in detail about chemical and biological protection and type of materials that has to be used. We discussed like permeable, semi-permeable and impermeable materials. Then we have discussed about the importance of seam construction for the chemical protection. So far we have discussed about the what are the materials, fiber selection, seam construction, about the garment details we have discussed. But in today's lecture, we are going to discuss exclusively on the evaluation of chemical protective clothing. So this is about the testing parameters. Now the garment is made. What are the testing parameters should be performed for ensuring that it is chemically protective? There are several parameters that are of interest in protecting against the hazardous chemicals, such as degradation, permeation, penetration, breakthrough time. We will see each one by one. What is meant by degradation? Degradation is the change in the physical properties such as weight, dimensions, tensile strength, elongation, swelling, delamination and deterioration of the material exposed to chemical. After the garment is made, the garment should be strong enough to protect itself from the chemical attack. It should not degrade with the exposure to chemicals. It should not affect the weight or the dimensions or the tensile strength or the elongation, means the physical properties should not get affected. For example, delamination, because the normally these materials are made up of a multi-layer construction. Multi-layer fabrics are kept used to make this fabric to make this garment, so it should not undergo delamination or it should not undergo deterioration. It should not undergo swelling of problem also when exposed to chemicals. Normally this degradation is main test that we carry out in the degradation. To understand this degradation is we check the weight loss, how much weight has been lost. For example, only 10% change in weight after it is exposed to chemical, it means that the degradation ranking is excellent. If it is 11 to 20% means it's good. Like that there are various ranking, but if the percentage weight is above 50%, then it means that the coating whatever you have put has completely gone out of the textile material. So in that case the degradation is very poor, so it is not recommended. Second is the permeation. Permeation is the movement of a chemical on a molecular level. Permeation takes place in three stages: absorption, diffusion and desorption. Actually in the ideal situation it follows the Fick's law of diffusion, means it will absorb where the chemical molecules are absorbed by the outside surface of the protective material, that is the garment. Then the chemicals will diffuse into the material. Then it will the desorption of the chemical molecules by the inner surface into the collecting medium. So this is the very important mechanism, which is the permeation, which happens in the molecular level. You can see this diagram. This is the first stage, which is the absorption, then diffusion. This is the outer surface here to the material. Then this is the desorption. So this is how the permeation process works. This also we check. So you can just see these are the important parameters that we are going to study. One is the degradation, which we have already seen. These are the physical property changes like weight, dimensions, etc. Then permeation we have just going through. Then other is the penetration. We will see each one by one. What are the methods and measurements and the uses and limitations. What is meant by penetration? Penetration is the flow of chemical through the porous material, seams, pinholes, closures or other imperfections of the material on non-molecular level. So penetration means it is not in a molecular level, it is in a non-molecular level. So it is not that important when compared to the permeation. So another thing is the breakthrough time. It is the time the chemical takes to travel from outside to inside surface of the protective material. This is very important parameter. And next is the permeation rate. This indicates how fast the chemical will move through the material following the breakthrough. Breakthrough is the first stage, that is followed by the permeation. Uh, After the breakthrough occurs, then after that how fast the chemical will move through the material following the breakthrough, which can be of importance with more hazardous substances, because this will decide how fast the chemical will penetrate and touch the skin. So it is expressed in microgram per centimeter square per minute. It gives the rate. So it is expressed in minute microgram per centimeter square. Then next is that these two important tests like breakthrough time and permeation rate. This gives good indication about the performance of the CPC when compared with the penetration. So these two are very important. But one thing we must understand is, however, these measurements alone are not enough and they should be complemented by other physical property tests. Already we have checked about the physical property tests like degradation, where we have seen about the change in the weight, change in the other physical properties which we have seen. So what are the chemicals used for testing this chemical protective clothing? So for that ASTM, which is the American Society for Testing Material, this committee specifies 15 liquid and 6 gaseous chemicals to use in the evaluation of protective clothing. These are the 15 liquids like acetone to toluene, and these are the gases, because for a chemical protection we must confer both the liquid as well as the gas protection also. So these are the chemicals that are used for testing. And we have seen in the previous slide that what is the importance of the breakthrough time and the permeation rate. So for that, for selective chemicals are shown here, and for the clothing material, whatever the protective textile is made up of, like whether it is made up of a latex, rubber latex, or a neoprene rubber, or a Tyvek material, or a PVC, for that what is the corresponding thickness and the breakthrough time, which is expressed in hours here, and permeation rate here it is expressed in milligram per minute per meter square. So this is a standard actually, which you can use as a template for whether you have used this kind of a material, so that for a particular chemical whether this kind of a breakthrough time or permeation rate happens. So this is actually a mean value of the triplicate test. 3 samples are normally to be tested and the results has to be put. But these are the basic tests which we have to do. Apart from that, there is an important test like recommended by ASTM committee F23 on protective clothing. They developed a test method called ASTM F739. This is a test for resistance of protective clothing materials to permeation by liquid or gases under the conditions of continuous contact. Here the word is very important. Continuous contact means whether on continuous exposure to the chemicals, whether the material is able to sustain that kind of a chemical attack. That is very important here. By this method we quantify the 3 parameters. One is the normalized breakthrough time, and another one is the permeation time, and another is the cumulative amount of chemical that has permeated at any time. Here we are not checking the normal breakthrough time. Here we are checking the normalized breakthrough time, because there are various analytical methods that are used normally to study. So here we are checking the normalized breakthrough time and permeation time, how much time it takes to permeate, and finally we are checking the cumulative amount of chemical that has permeated at any amount of at any time. So it is the total cumulative amount of chemical. So how this system works we will see. You can see a diagram. This is the ASTM F739 test cell. Here on left side you can see there is a reservoir of hazardous chemical, and at the right side you have a collective medium, and in between you have a protective clothing material. You keep the material here, assuming that it is a simulation where in the real situation the person is exposed continuously to a hazardous chemical. So that in this method the outer surface of the protective clothing is exposed to a challenging chemical, which is a hazardous chemical. The inside surface is kept in contact with the collection medium. This is the collection medium here, that is monitored for the chemical content. After continuously exposing it for a long time, how much chemical goes out. Normally it should absorb, diffuse and then dissolve. But if the coating or lamination, whatever we have done during the manufacturing, whether if it is not effective, in that case what will happen, the chemical will completely go inside. So this gives an idea about how effective is the protective clothing. Another is the NFPA standards. But before going to that, ASTM has developed a number of methods. Many methods are there, but the important one is the ASTM F739, which we have seen just now. Another is the standard recommended by NFPA. NFPA is the National Fire Protection Association. They have issued 3 standards on NFP. On CPC, you can see NFPA 91, 92 and 93. 91 means Standard on Vapor Protective Suits for Hazardous Chemical Agencies. And 92 is the standard on liquid splash protective suits for hazardous chemical agencies. And 93 is the standard on support function protective suits for hazardous chemical operation. These tests are also equally important to ensure that the material is chemically protective. So all the 3 standards address a complete ensemble of chemical protective clothing. They provide an extensive list of performance requirements related to suit integrity, material, chemical and flame resistance, material strength and durability of the component function. The important physical property requirements of CPC are flex fatigue. Means the material should not undergo any kind of a flex fatigue. It should be flexible enough and it should have a good tear resistance, and the weight also should be proper. Here we have seen one word called material, chemical and flame resistant. So the main function of the chemical protective clothing is to protect the wearer against the chemicals. So the clothing is not necessarily designed for protection against fire or heat, but there is a possibility that while cleaning of any kind of a chemical or dispose of any kind of a hazardous material like a hazmat, which is abbreviated as a hazmat spill, there is a chance for any kind of a flash fire or explosion also. So in that case, the material, chemical protective material should be both chemical resistant as well as the flame resistant. So flame resistance is also one of the important requirement here. So by using this test methods used by NFPA, we will get this whether the material is able to sustain flame also. So this is one of the important thing. So in that case, what we should do, whenever we develop a garment, we should also ensure that the material has good flame resistance also. That is why we have used Tyvek material, where it has the class 1 flammability. So now we have come to the conclusion. So here, before going into that conclusion, one of the things you should know that the chemical protective clothing, whatever you are using, you should not allow the material to contaminate. It should have a good contamination resistance. If the material gets contaminated on the outer surface, you can easily clean it with a solution like a water solution or a soap or a solvent also. But if the contamination occurs at the inner side of the garment, then it will be difficult to clean. So it should be protected from contamination. And there are various classifications of this chemical protective clothing, like durable chemical protective clothing and disposable chemical protective clothing. Like that, there are various 3 classifications are there. Durable clothing, chemical protection means something which will withstand more washes. Like you can say relatively it is a permanent type of a finishing should be given, so that the finishing agent should actually protect it from the contamination. Means the material should not contaminate. So it is a little challenge actually to confer both the chemical resistance as well as contamination resistance also. That is one of the thing. And disposable chemical protective clothing is like a one-time use only, where you can use and then dispose it after one single use. There is other kind of a classification also, like a non-durable kind of a chemical protective clothing, where it can withstand only very few washes, which is like a temporary type of a finish you can give, so that it can withstand 2-3 washes. Normally it is a challenging thing that to protect the chemical protective clothing from the contamination. So far we have been discussing about various types of components that are a part of chemical protective, like hoods, flash suits, goggles, coveralls, boots, gloves, various things that are a component of chemical protective clothing. Whether it is a encapsulating or a non-encapsulating material, it should protect the worker and the manufacturer from the product liability suits, so that strict quality assurance should be practiced during the manufacture inspection and packaging. This is very important, strict, because the material should actually have the good product liability, and also quality assurance should be practiced. Otherwise the material will not be proper, and it will fail in the tests, which is not a good thing. So here proper labeling is also important. For example, there are some standards like OSHA's or EPA standards. These must be followed wherever applicable. I hope you may be knowing what is OSHA's occupational safety. I think you may be knowing these things, and EPA, like Environmental Protection Association. You may be knowing these things. So these are the standards which must be followed actually wherever applicable. And third party certification is becoming very important for this purpose. Any kind of a testing laboratory or a third party certification, like a standard laboratory kind of a certification, is also important. Then only whatever garment we have manufactured is actually both advantages for the seller and also for the buyer. So the ultimate goal is to provide the right amount of protection in order to minimize the cost and maximize the production by acceptability. So this is very important. So this is the reason why we are studying this in more in detail, the fiber selection, everything, why we are doing it, and the importance, why it is very paramount to study this in detail, because of the right confer the right amount of protection, and also to minimize the cost and maximize the production by acceptability. So now we have come to the end of the discussion on chemical protective clothing. I hope now you have understood about the chemical protective clothing in detail, about the each and everything whatever I have explained. So I will stop here. We will meet for with the another topic in the next lecture. Thanks for listening. Have a nice day.